In Rust, electricity is incredibly important. Whether for comfort, convenience, or for security, no base is quite complete without it. However, using electricity requires power generation, either done with a generator burning fuel and making way too much noise, or you have to decorate the outside of your base, building windmills 1,000 feet into the air, or covering your roof in solar panels. In both cases, you're making your base stand out and relying on the kindness of strangers to not grief your electricity. What if there was a better way? What if there was a way to generate renewable energy inside your base, away from prying eyes and potential griefers? In this video, I'm going to be showing you how to take your solar panels and make them work inside your base. This means hiding it into your honeycomb, your roof, or even in a 1x1. Turret bases will never be the same. Before we get into the build, it's important to understand how to get the most out of your solar panels. A solar panel works by being in direct line of sight with the sun. So when placing your solar panel, you'll want to make sure that you get the most sunlight possible in any given day. To make that happen, first it's important to know that in Rust, the sun will rise in the east and set in the west. This will always be the same, and any solar panel facing only east or west will only be able to generate for half of the day. The second important aspect to understand is location on the map. Because the sun will always follow the center line on the map, this means that if you're on the lower half of the map, your solar panels will have to face north. Now that we understand where to place our solar panels, let's go over how to place them. Now normally, when you try to place a solar panel inside your base, you'll notice very quickly that you're not generating any power. That's because a solar panel requires direct line of sight with the sun in order to generate power. Some people attempt to get around this by having fake roofs on the top of their base and simply placing the solar panel in there. However, you'll very quickly notice that it doesn't generate power all the time, and even when it does, it's very visible from up top. This can of course expose you if there's any mountain or taller base around you. To get around that, we need to abuse some mechanics and place the solar panels inside, but also sort of outside. To do that, first we're going to pick that solar panel up, and we're going to place a piece of twig outside of our stone foundation. Now you can do this on any type of foundation, but I recommend stone with twig as the matchup just works a lot easier. And I do want to point out that placing this into triangle honeycomb works fairly easily on the same concept and can be boxed up without any issue. Now getting into placing our solar panel, it is a little tricky and requires a lot of patience. I also recommend having extra materials so that you can pick up and repair your solar panels. What you're going to want to do is line that solar panel up completely parallel with the twig piece. Making sure that it's lined up straight, you're going to want to give yourself a pixel or two of distance and place that first solar panel. You're going to want to remember where you placed it, as the next one either is going to have to be pushed back further or pulled closer to you. Next, placing a twig wall, we're going to want to make sure that the prongs of the solar panel are sticking through the bottom. That is a very important step, and at this point you can come around and see whether or not you're still generating power. And of course, if you're not generating any power, we've got to start all over again. Starting over, we're going to pull it just a little bit closer, and we're going to check again. We get power, and when upgraded, unfortunately, the prongs are sticking through the wall. Now this is going to work and you'll still generate power. However, it does leave you open to griefing, and it is possible to see it through the wall. To avoid that, you're going to want to just keep experimenting and simply push back a little bit further. Eventually, with some practice and patience, you're going to find that sweet spot where you can't see it through the wall and you're still generating power. Now, just to show that this isn't a fluke and we're not just getting power through the roof, we're going to go ahead and cover that up. And as you can see, we're still generating a solid 20 power. It's going to sometimes, when you first come up to it, glitch out a little bit, but I assure you that it is continuously generating. Now that we've got our first solar panel working, we're going to want to go ahead and place another one. So we are going to be stacking these two high, and in order to do that, we're going to build first a temporary shelf. And this is going to allow you to decide whether you want to place it on a triangle or a square. I like to place them on triangles as well. It's going to be easier for honeycomb, and it's simply just more convenient inside of a base, saving you a lot of space. And we're simply going to repeat the process up here. Kind of remembering the spacing from before, we're going to go ahead and place that. Place a wall piece. And upgrade that. Next, you simply come back upstairs, make sure that nothing's coming through, and make sure you're generating power. Always make sure to cover the roof pieces when you're checking to see if you're generating power, just so we don't run into any issues. Now, it is important to remember that a broken solar panel will not generate power properly and will naturally generate less. I was going to complain that this isn't working, but then I remembered that this was there. And it's working fine. Now that that's done, we can go ahead and seal this up, and we could actually go ahead and destroy this. Now, of course, because you might not always be able to plan ahead, when you're doing this trick into honeycomb later on, you're going to want to make sure that you connect the bottom solar panel to a root combiner, and then have the top solar panel also connect to the root combiner. And this is going to allow you to bring that power inside into an E branch and seal in that honeycomb completely. This way you can then destroy anything from the outside, have no indication of solar panels, and still generate all the power that you need inside your base. Now, of course, I recommend personally just planning ahead of time, so that you'll have access to your solar panels, and instead using door frames and a double door frame, giving you a nice electrical room that you can access without really interfering with your base. This gives you room to slap in a couple small batteries or even a large battery, and all your wiring, branches, and anything else you might need inside your base. Of course, it's completely up to you whether you'd prefer to actually full honeycomb it, or if you'd rather have access to it later. Soft-siding a stone wall, after all, is really not that much work. Of course, if you guys liked this video, if you found it helpful at all, make sure to smash that like button and subscribe for future content. I'm always looking to bring in new ideas and help make your life better. If you have any interesting ideas, pop on over to the Discord and let us know over there. And of course, a massive shout out and thank you to my boy Lost Soul. Lost Soul is actually the one who brought this to my attention, and because of him, we were able to make some amazing trap bases.